You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 147.2, our boys basketball week in review in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison, Tipton, and Northern Hamilton counties. With our win, performance, coach, player, and team of the week, our top 20 power poll, and a conversation with Blackford first-year head coach Aaron Daniels.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, basketball fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report Boys Basketball Week in Review. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, coming to you today from Stage 22 in Elwood. Producer Susie is back at headquarters in the control room. We're about to go through the past week for every varsity basketball program in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison, Tipton, and Northern Hamilton counties. Then we will reveal our wins, performances, coach, player, and team of the week. Then our top 20 power poll, an entire week's worth of basketball results and highlights in one weekly podcast. Then my conversation from Friday night with Blackford head coach Aaron Daniels, whose Bruins took the lead in the CIC with a 57-43 win over Madison Grant on Friday. Sorry I'm a little late this week and didn't talk to many coaches. Producer Susie and I spent most of the weekend recalculating our approach and restructuring our game plan going forward, and I got a little bit behind. I'll try not to let it happen again. As always, the Central Indiana Sports Report starts with the Central Indiana Conference. As I just mentioned, Blackford is on top of the CIC at 3-0 now after the win over Madison Grant. They're 6-5 overall. They're a half game ahead of Oak Hill, the only other unbeaten team in the CIC. Oak Hill's 2-0 in the conference, 7-3 overall. Three teams are tied at 1-1. Mississinawa's 5-5 overall. Frankton 3-7. Alexandria 3-10. Eastbrook and Madison Grant are both 1-2 in the conference. Eastbrook's 4-5 overall. Madison Grant is 4-6. And Elwood is the only winless team in the CIC, 2-9, 0-3. In Blackford's win over Madison Grant, senior Gage Baker had 19 points and 4 rebounds. Freshman Mari Leggett, 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Junior Mason Kitterman also had a big game with 8 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocked shots. On Saturday, Blackford lost at South Adams 53-49. Leggett had 20 points, Kitterman 8. Junior Jacob Dillon had 7 points and 10 rebounds, and senior Jacob Lease 5 points and 5 assists. Blackford hosts 5-5 Mississinawa on Friday in a big CIC game. Then the Bruins are at 8-4 Winchester on Saturday. I spoke with Coach Daniels about the remaining games on his CIC slate if the Bruins are going to win their first conference championship this century. Oak Hill is 7-3 overall, 2-0 in the CIC. They beat Peru 77-73 in overtime on Friday behind 39 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists from sophomore Jace Tonigal. Senior Owens Middleworth had 12 points, and junior RJ Sugar added 9. Oak Hill is at 5-5 Southwood on Tuesday and host 4-5 rival Eastbrook on Friday. Mississinawa is 5-5 overall, 1-1 in the conference after winning 3 of their last 4 games. The Indians defeated Southwood 52-31 Wednesday. Freshman Ravion Fetz and senior Tyvon Jacobs scored 12 points apiece. Seniors Grady Shep and Keontae Woods had 9 points apiece. And junior Seth Yoder finished with 6 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. Mississinawa is at 6-5 Blackford on Friday. After going 1-2 in the Madison County tournament, Frankton is at 3-7 overall, 1-1 in the conference. That's a really good 3-7 team. They defeated Anderson Prep 58-47 Tuesday. Senior Brady Carmack had 21 points and 8 rebounds. Senior Joey Wright had 16 points and 7 assists. Junior Ethan Stansberry finished with 11 points on 3 of 7 from behind the three-point line. And sophomore Trey Bennett had 9 points and 17 rebounds. Frankton then lost to Class A number 8 Liberty Christian 58-55 on Wednesday. In the semifinals, Carmack had 19 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Wright finished with 19 points and 5 assists. Frankton finished out the tournament with a 51-34 loss to Pendleton Heights on Monday. The Eagles went just 12 for 32 from the field in that one. Frankton has a CIC game Friday when they host 4-6 Madison Grant. Of course, they're going to have to go unbeaten the rest of the way in conference to potentially win a share of the conference championship. Alexandria is 3-10 overall, 1-1 in the CIC. In the Madison County tournament, they lost 100-42 at Class 4A number 6 Anderson on Tuesday in the first round. Then in the consolation bracket, the Tigers lost 87-53 to Lapel on Wednesday. And they closed out the tournament with a big 62-37 win at Elwood on Friday. Eastbrook is 4-5 overall, 1-2 in the CIC. They defeated Cowan 64-26 on Saturday. Senior Draven Collins had 18 points. He was 3 for 6 from behind the three-point arc. Junior Bodie Howell had 13 points, 4 steals, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. And sophomore Jaden Younts, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals. This week, Eastbrook hosts 2A number 10 Taylor on Tuesday. Taylor is 10-0. Then they go to 7-3 Oak Hill on Friday and close out a tough week at home against 3-5 Eastern on Saturday. Madison Grant is 4-6 overall, 1-2 in the CIC. They lost 57-43 at home to Blackford on Friday. 6 players had at least 5 points. Senior Ike Almeida had 9. Senior Xander Gillespie, 8. Seniors Xavier Yagi and Levi Nelson, 7. Senior Luke Gilman finished with 6, and junior Brock Barnhart scored 5. This week, the Argyles are at 3-7 Frankton on Friday. Elwood is 2-9 overall, 0-3 in the CIC. They have lost 4 games in a row. They lost 73-32 in the opening round of the Madison County tournament to Class A number 8 Liberty Christian on Tuesday. Senior Jaden Mullins and junior Cam Gallegos had 11 points apiece to lead the Panthers. Mullins had 9 rebounds. Gallegos knocked down 3 threes. Then in the second round on Wednesday, Elwood lost 66-55 to Anderson Prep. Junior Corbin Level led the way with 12 points. Gallegos had 11. He was 3 for 6 from deep. Mullins finished with 10. He was 5 for 8 from the field and had 8 rebounds. Sophomore Jackson Gordon had 8 points with a couple of threes, and junior Ethan Cassis scored 3 points and had a team best 5 assists. Elwood lost 62-37 in the final round to Alexandria on Friday. Gallegos had a career best 22 points. He hit 4 threes. He's now averaging almost 15 points a game since his return at the start of January. Junior Bryce Schuler had 9 points. This week, Elwood is at 0-2 GEO Next Generation in Indianapolis. It's the second full season for the program. That's on Thursday. Then on Friday, Elwood goes to 3-10 Alexandria to face the Tigers for the second time in a week. To our only independent team, Lapel is 6-4. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. They went 2-1 in the Madison County tournament after losing 57-49 to Pendleton Heights and beating Alexandria 87-53 and Anderson Prep 95-55. In the loss to Pendleton, senior Bodie Judge had 22 points. He was 8 for 14 from the field, 3 for 6 from behind the three-point stripe with 7 rebounds. Sophomore Quade Hall had 9 points. He was 3 for 5 from deep. And freshman Liam Coe had 5 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. In the win over Alexandria, the Bulldogs shot 59% from the field and had 5 players in double figures. Bodie Judge had 18 points on 9 of 14 shooting. He also had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Brody Judge had 15 points on just 8 field goal attempts with 6 assists. Quade Hall had 14 points. He was 5 for 6 from the field, 3 for 4 from deep. Junior Luke Jones had 13 points on 6 of 8 shooting. Junior Devin Craig had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals. And junior Tyler Cash was 2 for 3 from 3 for 6 points. Lapel hosts 7-5 Hamilton Heights on Friday. Then they're at 6-6 Connorsville on Saturday. To the Hoosier Conference, we start with the East Division, which has 3 of our area teams. Western is 9-4 overall and has clinched the division, and will face the winner of the Hoosier West Division in the championship game on February 21st. Western is 9-4 overall, 3-0 in the conference. I think I may have said that, but I said it again. Class 2A number 12 Tipton is 7-2 overall, 1-1 in the conference. Hamilton Heights is 7-5 and 1-1. Logansport is 4-10 overall, 0-3 in the conference. In the West Division, there's a three-way tie at the top between West Lafayette, Twin Lakes, and Central Catholic. They are all 1-0. West Lafayette's 9-3, Twin Lakes 7-5, and Central Catholic 6-5 overall. Benton Central is 4-7 overall, 0-1 in the conference. Rensselaer Central 3-8, 0-2. Western is 9-4 overall, 3-0 in the conference. They defeated Central Catholic 51-38 on Tuesday. They held Central Catholic to 36% shooting and forced 18 turnovers. Freshman Eli Mast had 12 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. Junior Carter Biggs, 11 points. Senior Hudson Biggs, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And senior Sam Thurston finished with 7 points and 6 rebounds. The Panthers then beat Logansport 54-46 at the Berry Bowl on Saturday. They held the Berries to 33% shooting. Carter Biggs had 18 points. He was 4 for 6 from the field, 3 for 4 from behind the three-point arc, and made 7 of his 8 free throws. He also had 11 rebounds. Mast finished with 17 points. He was 4 for 8 from behind the three-point line. And Hudson Biggs had 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. This week, in their only game of the week, the Panthers host unbeaten and 10th ranked Taylor on Saturday. Hamilton Heights is 7-5 overall, 1-1 in the conference. Their game Friday against Northwestern was postponed, but on Saturday they beat Frankfort 76-30 for their third straight win. Junior Reese Knapp had 28 points. He was 10 for 13 from the field, 7 for 8 from behind the three-point arc. He finished with 6 rebounds as well. Senior Tyler Champion, 4 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals. Senior Aiden Unger, 5 points, 3 steals, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Hamilton Heights is at 6-4 lapel in its only game this week. That's on Friday. Tipton is 7-2 overall, 1-1 in the conference. Their game Friday was also postponed. That one was against Maconaquah. Then on Saturday, the Blue Devils beat Bethesda Christian 51-40 on the road. Senior Grady Carpenter continued his hot play with 21 points, 8 assists, and 3 rebounds. Senior Landon Spidell added 16 points and 5 boards. Tipton has 3 games this week. They are 0-11 Wabash on Tuesday, at 6-4 Northwestern Friday, and they host Class A number 11 Clinton Prairie, which is 7-1 on Saturday. To the Hoosier Heartland Conference, Sheridan is on top of the conference at 5-0. The next best team is 2-0. That's Taylor. Sheridan's 10-2 overall. Taylor is 10-0 and ranked number 10 in Class 2A. Carroll is 7-1, also undefeated in the conference at 1-0. They're ranked 6th in Class A. Class A number 11 Clinton Prairie, 7-1 overall, 1-1 in the conference. Every other team has at least 2 losses. Rossville is 7-5, 1-2. Tri-Central 6-5, 1-2. Eastern 3-5, 1-2. Clinton Central is 1-9 overall, 0-2 in the conference. And Delphi is 6-5 and 0-3. Sheridan continues to thrive in 24-25 with a pair of wins this week. 66-50 at Tri-Central and 74-56 at Rossville in a pair of conference games this week. In the win over Tri-Central, sophomore Trey Page had another huge night, 29 points. He was 10 for 18 from the field and 5 for 11 from deep. Senior Damon Winston, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 6 steals. Senior Caleb Wright had 13 points and 9 assists. He was 3 for 7 from behind the three-point arc. In the win over Rossville, Winston had 20 points, Wright 19, and Page 18. Winston also had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 block shots. Sheridan doesn't play again until January 24th. They go to 6-5 Delphi for another HHC contest on January 24th. 2A number 10 Taylor is 10-0 overall, 2-0 in the Hoosier Heartland. They defeated Maconaquah 60-57 in a thriller on Wednesday. The Titans had 4 in double figures. Junior Dre McClatchy and sophomore Keyshawn Galloway scored 13 points apiece. Galloway also had 7 rebounds and 6 assists. Junior Javon Harris, 11 points and 14 rebounds. He is a rebounding machine. Junior Christian Hall scored 10 points, and junior Jacob Trueblood had 8 points and 9 rebounds. This week, the Titans have 3 games. They are at 4 and 5 Eastbrook Tuesday, at 1 and 9 Clinton Central on Friday, and at 9 and 4 Western on Saturday. If they go 3 and 0 in that one, we got to start having a serious conversation about the Titans. Tri Central is 6 and 5 overall, 1 and 2 in conference. They lost a pair of games this week, 66-50 at Sheridan and 58-50 at home against Westdell on Friday and Saturday. This week, the Trojans host 7 and 5 Rossville in another conference game on Friday. Then they are at 6 and 4 Anderson Prep on Saturday. Eastern is 3 and 5 overall, 1 and 2 in the conference. Their last game was January 4th when they lost 44-41 at home against Northwestern. This week, the Comets host 6 and 5 Delphi on Friday, and they are at 4 and 5 Eastbrook on Saturday. Despite it being early in the season, Greenfield Central is the only unbeaten team in the Hoosier Heritage Conference. The 4A number 3 Cougars are 9 and 2 overall, 3 and 0 in the HHC. Mount Vernon is second at 8 and 2 overall, 3 and 1 in the conference. 3A number 7 New Pal, 10 and 2 overall, 2 and 1 in the conference, and Shelbyville is 10 and 3 overall, 2 and 1 in conference. Delta is 9 and 2 overall, 1 and 2 in the HHC. Pendleton Heights 5 and 6, 0 and 1.
18 hours.
Newcastle is 4 and 7, 0 and 2, and Yorktown 3 and 7, 0 and 3. Delta lost 69-56 to 3A number 7 New Pal on Saturday to end an 8-game winning streak. That final score was 69-56. This week, the Eagles host unbeaten and top-ranked Wapahani in the opening round of the Delaware County Wednesday at 6. I would advise you get to that one. Pendleton Heights is 5 and 6 overall and has only played one conference game, a loss to Mount Vernon. This week, the Arabians finished third in the Madison County tournament by defeating LaPel 57-49, losing to 4A number 6 Anderson 70-52, and beating Frankton 51-34 on Monday. In the win over LaPel, junior Cooper Sims had 21 points. He made 3 of his 7 3-point attempts and also had 4 assists and 4 steals. Senior Evan Mazingo had 17 points. He was 7 for 10 from the field. And junior Hayden Fox added 9 points. In the loss to Anderson, Sims had 16 points. He was 3 for 7 again from behind the 3-point arc. Mazingo had 15 points and was 5 for 7 from deep. Senior Joe Estes had 13 points and 4 rebounds. And in the win over Frankton, Sims had 17 points. Estes and Mazingo 8 each. And junior Ashan Singh 4 points, 5 steals, and 3 rebounds. The Arabians host 3A number 7 New Pal on Friday, and then host 10 and 3 Shelbyville on Saturday, with a chance to get right back in the Hoosier Heritage Conference race. Yorktown is 3 and 7 overall, 0 and 3 in the conference. Their last game was an 81-53 loss to Anderson for their 7th consecutive loss. That game was on January 2nd. On Wednesday, the Tigers face 5 and 5 Westdell in the opening round of the Delaware County Tournament at 7:30. The semifinals are Friday, and the championship game is Saturday. Marion's is still on top of the North Central Conference. They are 6 and 4 overall, 2 and 0 in the NCC. Jeff and Anderson also are unblemished in the conference. Jeff is 10 and 2, 1 and 0 in the conference. Anderson's 11 and 0 and hasn't played a game in the conference yet. Kokomo's 10 and 2 overall, 0 and 1. Richmond 6 and 8, 0 and 1. Muncie Central 3 and 9, 0 and 1. So mathematically, every team has a chance to win the conference. Marion lost their only game of the week to make it 3 in a row, 75-67 to Fort Wayne South on Saturday. Senior Amar Rogers had 19 points. Junior Tim Jones had a big night with 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 steals. Senior Jadian Smith, 12 points. And junior Logan Barnes had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Marion goes to Carmel on Friday. The Greyhounds are 6 and 4. Then they host 9-4 Homestead on Saturday. What a tough stretch for the Giants. Class 4A number 6 Anderson is 11-1 overall after winning the Madison County Championship for the fourth year in a row. They have won 7 games in a row after defeating Alexandria 100-42 on Tuesday, Pendleton Heights 70-52 on Wednesday, then Class A number 8 Liberty Christian 78-61 on Monday to claim the title. In the win over Alexandria, the Indians had 5 in double figures, led by senior Damian King's 21 points. He also had 5 rebounds and 5 assists and 2 block shots. Senior Titus Hunter and junior Colin Lewis scored 16 points apiece. Hunter had 8 rebounds and Lewis had 5 assists. Senior Aaron Morgan was 7 for 8 from the field with 15 points and also had 4 assists. And senior Javon Warfield finished with 11 points. In the win over Pendleton, King had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals. Senior Titus Hunter, 16 points. He's 8 for 10 from the field with 7 rebounds. Morgan, 13 points, 3 assists, 3 steals. Lewis, 10 points. Warfield, 8 points and 7 assists and 4 rebounds. And in the championship game win over Liberty Christian, Morgan had a career high and team best 25 points. King, 17 points and 10 rebounds. Warfield finished with 10 points and 5 assists. Anderson has a big North Central Conference game, their opener, on Friday at 10-2 Lafayette Jeff. Then they host 8-5 Hamilton Southeastern on Saturday in a challenging weekend ahead. Class 4A number 15 Kokomo is 10-2 overall, 0-1 in the conference. Last week they won 106-45 over Logansport on Friday and 85-83 in overtime against Fort Wayne Snyder at home on Saturday for their 4th and 5th consecutive wins. In the win over Logansport, the Wildcats shot 60% from the field and had 5 players in double figures, led by senior Zion Bellamy's 22. He was 6 for 7 from behind the three-point line with 6 steals and 5 assists. Junior Corbett Hamill had 18 points and 7 assists. Junior Barris Moore and freshman DJ Nash 15 points apiece. Moore had 6 assists. Nash had 6 rebounds. Sophomore Irvion Burks had 12 points. He was 4 for 7 from behind the three-point line. And senior Max Fewerly doing Max Fewerly things with 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. In the overtime win over Snyder, Bellamy outdid himself with 30 points, going 4 for 9 from deep with 4 rebounds and 2 steals. Hamill, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Moore, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. And Fewerly, another double-double, 10 points and 11 rebounds, 6 of those on the offensive end, with 4 assists and 2 steals. This week, the Wildcats host 9-3 Harrison and a big one on Friday. Then they are at 6-2 Mechaniqua on Saturday. Muncie Central is 3-9 overall after going 0-2 this week. They are 0-1 in the conference. They scored just 60 points in 2 games this past week. They lost 53-37 at home against Lafayette Jeff. Freshman Carlos Eccles had 14 points. He was 6 for 10 from the field and 2 for 3 from behind the three-point line. Junior Landon Wells had 10 points. He was 2 for 3 from the field and 5 for 6 at the line with 3 steals. Freshman Jackson Johnson had 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. And senior Cannon Higgs had 2 points and 8 rebounds. In a 63-23 loss at Noblesville, junior Shamar Taylor had 8 points and senior Cannon Higgs 6 points and a block shot. Muncie Central has 3 games this week, starting at 0-7 Burris on Tuesday. Then they host 6-8 Richmond in an NCC contest on Friday. Then they host 2-8 Chittard on Saturday. A chance for the Bearcats to get things turned around. In the Mid-Eastern Conference, there are 4 undefeated teams at the top of the standings, all of them having excellent seasons. Shenandoah and Eastern Hancock are both 3-0. Shenandoah's 8-3 overall. Eastern Hancock 5-3. Class 2A number 1 Wapahani's 10-0 overall, 2-0 in the conference. Monroe Central's also 2-0 in the conference and 8-2 overall. Randolph Southern's 4-5, 1-1. Westdale 5-5, 2-3. Daleville 2-6, 2-4. Blue River Valley 1-9, 1-3. Union 2-5, 0-2. And Cowan 0-10, 0-3. Class 2A number 1 Wapahani did not play last week. Their last game was an 85-41 win over Blue River Valley on January 3rd. This week they're at 9-2 Delta on Wednesday in the opening round of the Delaware County Tournament. The semifinals on Friday and the championship is on Saturday. Westdell is 5-5 overall after beating Tri-Central last week, 58-50, and they are 2-3 in the conference. In the win over Tri-Central, junior Julian Carpenter had 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. He was 4 for 10 from behind the three-point line. Senior Gabriel Becerra had 14 points, 4 assists. Senior Josiah Love, 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. And junior Elijah Durr contributed 8 points and 6 rebounds. This week, Westdell faces 3-7 Yorktown on Wednesday in the opening round of the Delaware County Tournament. Daleville's 2-6 overall, 2-4 in the conference, after beating Cowan 66-21 on Friday. Senior Hunter Sachina finished with 20 points. He was 5 for 7 from deep with 7 rebounds. Senior Kevin Whitworth had 17 points and also had 7 rebounds. Senior Noah Colvin, 16 points. Senior Josh Wilson, 4 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. And junior Bryson Sigler added 7 assists and 2 block shots. This week, Daleville opens the Delaware County Tournament on Friday against either unbeaten and top-ranked Wapahani or 9-2 Delta. Either way, that is not going to be fun for the Broncos. Cowan's 0-10 overall, 0-3 in the conference after losing twice last week, 66-21 at Daleville and 64-26 at Eastbrook. In the loss to Cowan, the Blackhawks shot just 29%. They took 10 three-point shots and didn't make any of them. They were led by 10 points from sophomore Brody Clifford. Senior Gentry Groves had 3 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block shot. This week, Cowan faces 3-7 Yorktown or 5-5 Westdell in Friday's Delaware County semifinals at Delta. In the Pioneer Conference, we start with the North Division, which has 3 of our local teams, including the top 2 teams. Liberty Christian is 7-5 and 3-0 in the conference. They need just one more win to clinch their division. Anderson Prep 6-4 overall, 1-1 in the conference. University 6-6 overall, 1-1 in the conference. Burris is 0-7, 0-1. Seton Catholic 6-8, 0-2. In the South, Shortridge is 5-8, 1-1. Greenwood Christian 4-8, 1-1. Park Tudor 2-6, 1-1. International and Bethesda Christian, neither one have played a conference game. International's 2-3. Bethesda Christian is 3-7. Class A number 8 Liberty Christian went 2-1 and finished runner-up in the Madison County Tournament. They beat Elwood 73-32 on Tuesday and Frankton 58-55 on Wednesday in the semifinals, then lost to Anderson 78-61 in the championship game. Sophomore TJ English had a game high and season best 31 points in the championship game against Anderson. The Lions host 4-6 Tinley on Thursday. Then, if they can beat 6-8 Seton Catholic on Saturday, they will clinch the Pioneer North Division with a win. That game will be played February 14th, and man, do I bet Liberty Christian would like another shot at Shortridge. Anderson Prep is 6-4 overall, 1-1 in the conference. They went 1-2 in the Madison County Tournament. They lost 58-47 to Frankton in the opening round, beat Elwood 66-55, and then lost 95-55 at Lapel on Monday. In the win over Elwood, senior Lincoln Fathauer had 13 points, senior Zamarian Bryant 12, and senior Marcus McLean had 11 points and 4 assists. Senior Cameron Anderson 4 points and 4 assists. The win over Elwood gives the Jets their 6th win of the year, which ties a program record for wins in a season. With 13 regular season games left to play, I'm guessing they're going to get that record. Their pursuit of that 7th win starts on Wednesday when they host 1-9 Blue River. Should happen. Then they host 6-5 Tri-Central on Saturday in what should be a really good game. Burris is 0-7 overall, 0-1 in the Pioneer. Their last game was December 19th at Elwood, a 41-29 loss. They haven't played in a full month, but they host 3-9 Muncie Central on Tuesday, and then host 6-6 University on Friday in a conference game. In the Three Rivers Conference, Class 2A number 7 Manchester's on top of the standings. They are 11-1 overall, 3-0 in the Three Rivers. The only other unbeaten team in league play is 6-2 Mechanic, while they're 2-0 in the conference. Northwestern is 6-4, 3-1. Peru 5-6, 3-1. Northfield 7-4, 2-1. Rochester 6-2 overall, 1-1 in the Three Rivers Conference. Southwood 5-5, 1-2. Whitco 3-8, 1-2. Wabash 0-11, 0-3. And Lewis Cass 2-9, 0-5. Northwestern is 6-4 overall, 3-1 in conference play, so they're still in the thick of things. They lost their only game last week, 46-42 against Class A number 11 Clinton Prairie on Friday. Senior Preston Sims had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 5 block shots, and 3 assists for the Tigers. This week, Northwestern hosts 7-2 Tipton on Friday and 7-4 Northfield on Saturday. Before we get to our weekly honors, please go right now and like, subscribe, or follow us if you like what we're doing over here. We can be found on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, all of them. Please go do that right now so you do not miss a single segment of the Central Indiana Sports Report. The Central Indiana Sports Report Performance of the Week belongs to Oak Hill sophomore Jace Tonigal, who had 39 points, over half of the team's points, in the Golden Eagles 77-73 overtime win against Peru. He was 14 for 21 from the field. He made 7 of his 10 three-point attempts, had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. I just wanted to note that this was really close. Hamilton Heights' Reese Knapp had a huge performance with 28 points on just 13 field goal attempts. I waffled a little on this one, but over half of his team points in an overtime win. Congratulations, Jace Tonigal. The Taylor Titans remained unbeaten after beating 6-1 Mechaniqua 60-57 last Wednesday in the Central Indiana Sports Report win of the week. 10th-ranked Taylor trailed 45-44 after 3 quarters, but overcame the deficit to improve to 10-0 for the second time in 3 years. The Central Indiana Sports Report Coach of the Week is Anderson head coach Donnie Bowling, who led the Anderson Indians to their 4th consecutive Madison County tournament in his 5th year as the Indians head coach. The Central Indiana Sports Report Player of the Week is Kokomo senior Zion Bellamy. In his first 2 games of 2025, Bellamy scored 52 points on 59% shooting. He was 63% from behind the three-point line. He also had 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 8 steals for the week. And the Central Indiana Sports Report Team of the Week was an easy one. The Anderson Indians are the Team of the Week after they beat Alexandria, Pendleton Heights, and Liberty Christian to claim the county championship for the 4th consecutive season. Before we move on to the top 20 power poll, just want to remind everyone to please tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. We're having a lot of fun over here. It would be wrong to deprive your friends of all this fun. To our top 20 power poll with the date ending January 13th, 2025. 6-4 Anderson Prep comes in at number 20. 3-9 Muncie Central is number 19. And Northwestern is 6-4. They're number 18. They moved up 2 spots. Blackford moved up a spot from 18 to 17. They are 6-5, but oh so close to being 8-3. Frankton is 3-7. They're ranked 16th. Mississinawa is number 15. Hamilton Heights comes in at number 14. They moved up a spot. They've won 3 games in a row. Oak Hill moved from number 11 to number 13 in this poll. Because of their performance in the Madison County tournament, Liberty Christian, 5-4, moved up 2 spots from number 14 to number 12. Sheridan moves up a spot to number 11 after winning a couple of conference games. Tipton comes in at number 10. They've won 5 in a row. Western is number 9. The Panthers had big wins over Central Catholic and Logansport last week. Marion is number 8. They've dropped 5 spots. They've lost 3 in a row against 3 teams combined 25-6, so I'm not sure if that's fair, but it was so tightly bunched up there that it hurt them. Number 7, Lapel remains the same. The Bulldogs won 3 of their last 4 after going 2-1 in the Madison County tournament. Pendleton Heights stays at number 6. They were impressive in their run in the Madison County tournament. Taylor is number 5. They're the big mover. The last 3 weeks, they've gone from number 10 to number 8 to number 5. Being 10-0 will do that for you. Delta stays at number 4. The Eagles had their 7-game winning streak snapped by a state championship contender in New Pal. Kokomo moves from number 5 to number 3. The 15th ranked Wildcats have won 5 in a row since their 0-2 weekend at the end of December. Number 2 is 8-1 Anderson. I can't take an unbeaten team out of the number 1 spot. But the Madison County Tournament champion definitely have an argument for being number 1. But number 1 for the 3rd week in a row is unbeaten and top-ranked Wapahani. Please stay tuned for Blackford head coach Aaron Daniels.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
And, Coach, if you're going to get to a point where you're going to play Oak Hill in a meaningful CIC game, you're going to have to get by a lot of really good teams first. Your next 2 in particular, at home next Friday against Mississinawa, and then at Frankton the following Friday, 2 of the top teams in the conference. Mississinawa, of course, a team with a lot of good veterans, with a difference-making freshman. So that's going to be a tough task just getting to that point, Coach.
Mississinawa, we saw them, a couple times, and then I saw them against Southwood the other night. And another coach, man, Coach Brooks does a fantastic job. They're really hard to guard because you're right, the freshman kid, for a freshman, he is starting to not play like a freshman this late in the year. He doesn't take bad shots, he doesn't force things for a freshman to be leading the team. Sometimes you think, well, maybe he's forcing some things.
Right.
Man, he's not forcing shots. He's getting good looks. They run good action. I mean, they are getting the shots that they want. And really, like Southwood game, they got whatever they wanted. They are really, really scary because they play at a quick tempo. They get up into you a little bit. They defend, and they defend with 5, and they play together. And it's really a true testament when you look at their scoring. I mean, they've got 5 kids on any given night that could lead them in scoring, and they've got a really good post player. And a lot of nights he's the best player on the floor. They've got a freshman that can score it all over the place, and then they've got guys that just, man, they hit big shots, they shoot it well. They are really scary. You're right. I mean, another one, we're glad that we have it at home. But they are a really, really good basketball team, and defensively they play as one unit, and they really do a good job of defending the basketball.
Before we talk about Frankton, let me talk about freshmen real fast. Hard for freshmen to know what's a good shot, because not only are you dealing with playing basketball and what is a good shot in general, but then you have to also think about your older teammates who are they thinking I'm shooting too much? Things like that. Talk about what it's like to be a freshman leader on a team and how difficult that can be.
Well, if I knew that, I think we'd be a lot better as well, because
Right.
there's a lot of nights, where we have a freshman, and I think everybody knows.
Yes.
I mean, he can get to the basket, pretty much anytime he wants. And it is one of those things where, we've got a kid that's on pace to break 1,000 points. He's been the leading scorer of the team for the last couple of years, and it's trying to learn your role. And I think, as a point guard, we're at a little bit of a luxury because Maury is such a good passer, and he's not selfish. For him, there's even times where we're like, hey, you've got to take this, you got to take over
Right.
in certain situations. And so it's a learning curve. And the only good thing about freshmen really is that they become sophomores. I mean, they continue to get better throughout the year, and it's tough. And there's times where, we have forced some shots, and the same with the Feds kid. I mean, he's leading them as well, and the poise that especially those 2 kids have shown has just been unreal. I mean, They have done a good job leading their teams. And a lot of times, as a freshman, it's not with a voice. It can be, but
Right.
when you've got kids that have played 4 years of varsity basketball, a lot more often, it's with their actions. The way they do things right, the way they get their teammates open, and that's one thing I think, especially for our freshmen,
Yeah.
playing the point guard position definitely helps because he's a phenomenal passer. And tonight, there was a stretch where Mari got 8, 10 points in a row, and it felt like it could have been 14, 16. And so you're exactly right. It's tough as a freshman to know, when do I step on it a little bit? When do I back off a little bit? And especially, for us, a kid averaging 15 points a game. So it's not like he's shy at all. So
And speaking of poise, your next game is the next game we want to talk about is Frank. You go to Frankton the following Friday. That's a program that oozes poise, and because of their head coach and their point guard at this point, one of the best around. How much chance have you gotten to see a Frankton team that looks like it's starting to play really well?
Well, Frankton, I don't know if they didn't play tonight, so they might still
Right.
have 2 wins. They might be the best 2-win team in the state of Indiana. They
Yeah.
they are an extension, truly, of their head coach. And when you say that, there's not a bigger compliment because Coach Broston does a phenomenal job. I mean, it's another coach in this conference that exactly what you're going to get when you play them. They're going to do everything right. They're going to be mentally tough. They're going to be physical. You're just not going to rattle them. And then you go on with that, and you've got Joey Wright, who's a point guard, and now they're even more unrattleable. I mean, they do things the right way. He's got a system in place, all the way down. His feeder system's phenomenal. I mean, in our area, and maybe even the state. I mean, that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to get a system in place where our kids know exactly what to expect, our fans know what to expect, and what that is a good finished product. He gets the most out of his players, and I'm in awe. You're right. I'm in awe of watching Coach, because he does such a nice job. And so it does not matter, if who he brings out on the floor year in and year out. You can never count Frankton out, and you can never overlook them. And they've got talent. I mean, they are a good basketball team, and it's only a matter of time before they rattle off 3, 4, 5 wins in a row and really get this thing going.
It sure looks that way. And of course, we had an interview with Brent Brobson yesterday, and he said he's starting to feel that way. They are 3-6 at this point, and
3-6. Okay.
yeah, had a very good win over APA on Tuesday, I guess it was. Starting to get my days mixed up
Yeah,
with all
absolutely.
the snow time off. Yeah, a good win over Anderson Prep, and then a really tough loss to Liberty Christian, a game that if they hit their free throws, they probably win. So
Well, in the Madison County tournament, I mean that was loaded this year. I mean,
yes,
Anderson Prep's having a fantastic year. Liberty Christian has those guards that are phenomenal, and then Anderson, even though Anderson's always good, they're really good this year. They're
yeah.
special, and so Coach Robson having to play the schedule they did in that is just, I mean, that's a tough road to hoe there. And the Madison County tournament was really deep this year.
Before you play Oak Hill, and that's the last game. That's your last conference game. That's interesting. That it
Yes.
could possibly come down to that if you could get to that point. But you would also have to win at Eastbrook, a team with a new coach, a quality coach, who and a team that looks like it's improving.
Yeah, Eastbrook might be the one team that you don't want to play later in the year because they're
Mm,
continuing. They've got a lot of young kids, and you can see it coming. They're going to be a
yes.
really good basketball team. I mean, everybody that's watched them, the Oak Hill game in the morning of the Grant Four, and then they turn around and they have a 13-point lead on Miss Sinawa in the evening. It's only a matter of time with them, and Coach Liddick has done a fantastic job. Defensively, they've already really turned it on, and they do a good job of controlling tempo as well, and with young kids. So
And
that
the young
sophomore
talent,
class there.
the CIC is crazy. We talked about the two freshmen. How about some sophomores in Tonigal and Younts, and just a crazy amount of young talent in the CIC. You think it's good now? Just wait.
Well, I keep thinking that every game. We play Alexandria, and
Yeah,
you go, man, they're
yeah,
going to be really good in a
and they are
couple
loaded
years.
with young talent.
You see Madison Grant tonight had a sophomore kid that played JV that
Going to
you
be a
can
good
see is
one.
going to be a really good player.
Yes, he is.
Oak Hill has they've got stuff coming at the middle school level. The talent level at the lower levels. Man, the CIC in the next couple years in really good hands because
Yeah.
from top to bottom, coaching wise, we've got some really really good coaches. There's some really good players coming. I mean, it's going to be really hard to come by wins in the next couple of years in the CIC.
Every once in a while, the CIC is not very good, but when it isn't, it doesn't last very long.
Right? Absolutely.
Yes, it's since I can remember, since the days of Garth Cohn and those CIC days. Every
Absolutely.
once in a while, the champion of the conference would end up with a 13-6 record going into the something like that, but not very
Yeah.
often. Most of
Yeah.
the
It's
time, there were
very
two
deep.
or three elite teams in the CIC, and it looks like we're headed back toward that.
Absolutely. Yeah. The talent level is very good coming up.
When you look at your sectional, you don't want to say that. How am I going to say this delicately, Coach? You don't want to say that Wapahani is um, going to win the sectional, but um, it looks like they are as huge a favorite as you can find.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, where we're at right now, we're not ready to compete with Wapahani. I mean,
Right.
we have a chance. We've got the talent level, and we've got to continue to hear. And that's why we play them at the end of the year. We continue to get better every game, and we're all looking up at Wapahani in there. And we've seen, Jay County played them to a 4 point game last week, and we've seen some
Yeah.
times, and there's going to be a night where they don't shoot it great. We haven't seen it yet, and I'm not sure that we will, but you have to think at some point in time, maybe you can catch them on an off night. We like that we get to host the sectional. We think it favors us. And like I said earlier, we get a little bit better, I think, every day. And if we can continue to develop defensively, we've got some offensive firepower. I think we can compete, and I think that we definitely have a chance to win it. But you're right. At this point in the season, it looks like Wapahani, they're a really, really good team in 2A.
Otherwise, it looks like the sectional. It's not just a one team sectional though. There's a bunch of teams that are going to. You talked about Alexandria. They're 2-10. That's going to be a team that by the end of the year, when they put their athleticism together with their youth, that's going to be a scary team. Madison Grant, you talked about a bunch of seniors who are tough minded. Eastbrook coming, man. There's not going to be any easy outs in that one.
Yeah, there's not a draw that you're gonna like in that. You're gonna find a way, no matter what the draw is, to be disappointed because you're right. Those teams, and they play really hard. I mean, it's Madison, Grant, Alexandria, they're gonna wear on you. Same with Eastbrook. I mean, they're all Eastbrook and Alexandria are in the same boat as us, except they're gonna continue to get better every day. I mean, they're young kids continue to grow, they continue to get better, and they continue to get experience. And as soon as they start finding some wins, they figure out how to win with that, that talent level. Now it really snowballs into something. So you're right. By the time the sectional gets here, I think the records, especially at the middle to the bottom of the sectional, you'll be able to throw those out. I mean, it's really going to be a wide open sectional, and then we're going to have to, somebody's going to have to upset Wapahani.
Thank you so much to Coach Daniels for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report and being a friend to and a supporter of the Central Indiana Sports Report. And thank you for listening. Please go like, subscribe, or follow us and tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. We would be eternally grateful. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.